So we're executing a query here with execute on our pool, on the products table we just created, and I added then and catch. These are functions we can chain onto the result of the execute call, so they will execute on whatever this gives us back, and this whatever is our so-called promise. Now, a promise is a basic JavaScript object, not specific to Node. It's also available in JavaScript in the browser, which allows us to work with asynchronous code. Instead of using callbacks, which we could also use with the MySQL package, promises allow us to write more structured code. Because instead of having a nested anonymous function here as a second argument, we simply have a then block, which will then get the anonymous function to execute. Now, the advantage is we can also write it like this, and now we have very readable code instead of having a nested code here. And that nested code especially becomes a problem if we have more and more asynchronous tasks depending on each other. Now, we also don't just have then, we also have catch, and this also has a function which executes in case of an error. So, for example, if the database connection fails or something like this. We get the error object here, and this is just a modern JavaScript syntax where we get one argument and then we handle it here. And I can simply log it with the console so that we at least see what the error was. Now we hopefully end up here, and we probably get an argument here too. Let's name it result for now, and let's also log result here then. And now let's see what we get. If I run npm start to bring up that server again, this immediately executes because it's part of the app.js file. And if we have a look at this, we see this is the object we got back. And in this object, we essentially also see the data that was retrieved here. The data we do get back has a format of an array with a nested array, where the first nested array seems to depict our data, the rows it fetched, and the second array seems to hold some metadata about the table we fetched it from. So result basically is an array with two nested elements, so we can also log out result 0 and result 1 here. And if we now save this and therefore our server restarts, we have almost the same output, but now it's not a nested array, but here we have the the first object we retrieved, the row we got, and then this ends here. Here's the closing square bracket, and then here we got the second log, so this is result 1. Which with the metadata. This is what we get back, and this should allow us to work with our data. Now, obviously, we don't just want to work with dummy data, but let's now see how we can adjust our models to interact with our database instead of local files.